Yo, you want to hear the craziest thing?
No, not until the podcast.
No, I can't put this on the podcast. I can't. You won't believe this shit.
Oh no, is it about shit?
I was watching Will we cut it out? Let's make a vote that we'll cut it out. Let's see the final product. Honestly, I went up for a high five right there. That would have been embarrassing to get on camera. You were voting. I was like, yeah.
Okay, let's start.
Welcome back, everyone, to Broken Spoken. This is episode 8, right?
We've lost track a long time
It's been a long time.
We're back.
Hey, welcome back. My name is Alexander Harth, and I'm with
Meriel.
Welcome back to Broken Spoken.
Should I say my last name? Meriel Day.
Address?
No.
Social?
No.
Okay, fine.
You know what? I never remember my social security number.
You don't write it down on your hand?
No. I've lived here 8 years, and still for work, when they ask me for it, I have to go into my email and like search and like find my old.
You put your social in an email titled "My Social Security Number."
It's in my old W-9s. Maybe I shouldn't say that in case someone hacks my email.
No, you should not say that. Basically, you just painted a target on your face.
Great.
Nice.
No, it's like in an old W-9 I sent like years ago to someone. And I have to like find that. It's just a mess. And I have the cards. I just never remember. I can't remember for the life
There's
of
some
me.
creepy things about Social Security, right? It tells you exactly what year you were born.
Is that what the numbers mean?
The numbers are actually like designated catalogs of who you are, when you were born, what month, and what area code or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah. And I don't know it exactly, but basically someone broke it down. It's kind of like, this is going to be...
You just get barcodes tattooed on that?
It's kind of like, yeah. I was like, should I bring that up? It feels a little bit like that.
Yeah.
Right? Which is really creepy.
They just scan you. Doot, doot. Yeah.
We're almost... Oh my God. Did you hear about this new microchip?
What, from the vaccine?
Mm-hmm. For the vaccine?
There's a micro...
No, not from the vaccine.
Like, people convinced they're getting microchips from the vaccine.
No, yeah, that's real.
Well, they're getting microchips.
It's already invented.
No, I mean like the vaccine is a secret microchip. Have you heard that theory?
I have heard that conspiracy theory. That was like from the 1940s. That's what like, in the future, there's going to be a global pandemic and microchips. No, but this company is real. It's a Swiss company. They already have like hundreds of millions of dollars in seed money, and they've already invented the microchip, and it's specifically for your vaccine passport.
That sounds like when you microchip your dog.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That doesn't sound good.
It doesn't bother me.
What? You think it's going to stop there?
I'll be dead by then. Who cares?
Oh my God. Not my children.
I love saying that just because you get so like antsy.
I get. No, I don't. You know, it's scary. Like you just see all of these rights just fly out the window, and everyone's okay with it.
I used to worry about this kind of stuff, and then for 2 years I lived opposite the FBI building, and I just accepted that they were for sure listening in on everything that happened in my apartment.
You're across the FBI building?
Not anymore. I used to.
What was that like? Did you see anything shady going?
I haven't told the story about them coming into our buildings. They thought we were hiding Al-Qaeda. Is that how you say it?
Al-Qaeda?
Yeah, whatever. They thought we had terrorists. Did I tell you the story?
They thought you were a terrorist?
Swear on my life. So this is the whole thing.
It's the worst intel they could possibly deliver.
I'm so
Meriel Day is priority one.
So I used to live in this big loft with me and 5 guys. And we were like, yeah, sounds bad. No, they were like my best.
Sounds like okay.
They were like my best friends.
Wait, I've been there.
That giant loft, the ugly one. It was
Great
actually
time.
so much fun. It was this massive loft. It was hideous, but had a huge living room. We throw tons of parties. Yeah. I never went to college. So I was 21 living here, and that was kind of my college experience, right? And, you know, we were 21. There was a lot of like semi-illegal stuff going on. You know, one of my roommates had a ring binder full of fake IDs for anyone who wanted to go to a club.
Pee and poo parties?
Never that far.
Oh,
we'll talk about that later. We had like acid in the freezer, I think, someone.
You didn't know which ice cube was acid and which one was actually water? You're like, what am I going to have with my Gatorade?
Another friend of mine had just pickle jars of weed under his bed.
Wait, what?
Just like big pickle jars full of weed.
Oh, okay. He didn't pickle weed.
No.
Because that would be genius.
He just kept it in large jars. Anyway, we lived opposite the FBI building, and everyone in that whole building was probably under the age of 25 because it was a really ugly building in New York, and no one with any decency would live there.
But over 21.
Yeah. Anyway, so one night my roommate comes in, and he's Polish. I'm English, the rest from America, right? So one night my roommate comes in and he goes, "Hey, there's like tons of police out front." And I go, "Well, that's weird. I wonder why." And then my friends were joking like, "Oh, they're after you two because you're foreign. They're gonna, deport you." Anyway, then our intercom buzzes and we check it, and in the little screen, there's just a SWAT team in the little intercom screen, and they go, "Hi, we're coming up. Please let us in." And we go, "Okay." So we buzz them up, and they.
Okay.
Okay, listen.
Warrant. What for?
No, listen. It's the FBI. I'm glad.
Yeah, warrant.
So
what for?
I'm glad. I'll tell you this. So they knock on our door and we open the door and it's full SWAT team. It's FBI, Homeland Security, and NYPD in bulletproof gear at our front door, 10 of them. And they're looking at us and we're just like this, staring back. And they say, hey, can we come in? We don't say anything. And the guy says, can 2 of us come in? We just want to talk to you. And my of course you think like warrant, but my friend who's there, who's real like this, was like, look, if we ask for a warrant, they're going to come back within 2 minutes from a warrant and just raid the place.
She doesn't know that.
It was a boy. It was a man.
He doesn't know that.
Anyway, they said, can we talk to you? So we go, okay. And I'm glad we cooperated, and I'll tell you why. So they come in and they say, hey, here's the deal. About an hour ago, someone flew a drone off your building over the FBI building and back to our building again. And that's a major security threat. And we need to come look at this place to make sure you're okay. To make sure like nothing suspicious is happening. They didn't care if we were okay. And then once they got in, they realized it was just some crummy apartment with a bunch of like 21-year-olds. But they were like, who lives in this apartment? And like 4 of us raised our hands. And they were like, okay, and who makes the most money here? And we ratted out my friend so fast. We're like, Jordan does. He makes the most out of all of us.
Why would that matter?
And they would go, okay. And they said this. They said this, legit, no joke. He goes, no one's hiding any terrorists, are you? Like trying to be jokey. And we went, no. And, I forgot the best part. Between like when they buzzed downstairs and coming up.
Yeah.
Chaos. One friend leaps over the couch, is pushing his weed under the bed. The other friend's grabbing his acid from the freezer and throwing it in a safe. Someone's shoving their fake IDs down the back of the sofa, like panicking, trying to strip the place in like 2 minutes. And I'm just sitting there on the couch because I'm the only one that didn't have illegal stuff going, who do I live with and what is happening right now? Anyway, they come in and they go, we need to...
You just see all these immigrants running out of a room. You're like, they were here the whole time. It's like, go.
They said, we just need to look around. They said, can we look around? And we go, and they go, can we just stick our head around each door? We just want to make sure there's no other families living here apart from you guys. And they did, to their credit. They just looked in each room. And as soon as they saw it was just, some dumb 20-year-old's room, they were chill about it. But they came in and they searched top to bottom the entire building. And they went to our rooftop and they searched the rooftop. And then they actually came and talked to us and were like, here's what happened. Obviously we know you guys aren't a problem. Do any of you have a drone that you were just like mucking around with? None of us did. And they still don't, I guess they kind of concluded it must have been some kid with a drone, just not realizing the threat of flying a drone over the FBI building. But once they came in and they saw and they looked on our rooms, they were really chill and they sat down and explained to us. But opening your front door and seeing the SWAT team is a real scary experience. Let me tell you, that's a lot. And then they asked us, like, where are we from? Because I have an accent. And they asked us again if other families live there apart from us.
See, I feel like this is, I don't know what side of the fence I'm on this, because in one instance, it's like New York City is so crazy.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine what it's like to try to like
keep it safe,
right? Because anyone and their mother can go through the Holland Tunnel, right? And how many times have you heard stories about people who successfully brought in guns and bombs, but are stopped at the end of the Holland Tunnel, right? So, and then we have like machete attacks, we have hatchet attacks, right? We don't really have many shootings unless you're in Bushwick, Brooklyn.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? So at one instance, I'm like, all right, you kind of have to protect it. But also, how weird of an experience is that? Who here makes the most money?
Well, here's the thing too. Okay,
right?
So,
and it's like I need to know who lives here. I need to know everyone's name.
They didn't ask
I need
names.
to get access to your building. I don't have a warrant. I'm showing up, guns up. You have to let me in. What would have happened if you said no?
So if we'd said no, I reckon
turn this down a little bit.
They would have come back with a warrant and searched the place, right?
Okay, but that's the legal way of doing it.
Yeah, but they asked politely. They said, "Hey, can 2 of us come in and talk to you?" And honestly, I think even if they'd found like weed and alcohol and stuff, they wouldn't have cared. They were looking for like a major terrorist threat. They didn't care what we were doing in that apartment. They just wanted to make sure we weren't a threat to the city. And to their credit, they were very polite. And then when they looked, they didn't lift anything or search. They just stuck their heads in the rooms. And once they saw we had like, shitty posters on the wall,
right,
and like tiny beds shoved into crappy bedrooms, they were super chill and they were very nice to us. And they realized that we weren't a threat. We were just a bunch of kids.
I have an opposite story of that.
And they were very polite to us and very nice. And they stayed in our building for a couple hours because they went to every apartment and like searched the roof because it's a security threat. That's the major FBI building, but they really weren't difficult. And I think, obviously I understand, get a warrant, whatnot, but I'm actually really glad in that case we cooperated because They didn't cause a problem. They didn't flip stuff out. They didn't stay in our apartment long. They were very nice and just like, we just have to check that everything's okay. If they come into our apartment and there was like a money printing machine and like, you know, I guess, I don't know what kind of stuff do suspicious people have in their apartment. Explosives, then that would have been a bigger issue.
So here's my issue with that is like, I agree with you 9 times out of 10, it's okay, right?
Yeah.
But when you're that 1 out of 10 person and it's not you.
Yeah, agreed.
And they break the law to come in and they find an excuse.
That wasn't breaking the law.
I have a story for you.
They asked.
I have a story for you where it went bad.
Okay, but they didn't break the law because they asked and we let them in.
Right.
And I'm glad we did.
They did ask and let you in, right? But they showed up full guns. Yeah. Like it wasn't like a representative
they
and
weren't
everyone.
Like this though. They weren't pointing them in our face, but
they had a SWAT team on your video comm. Do you know how like small square footage?
It was really scary.
That's like
and then
able
when it
to
opened
capture
the door
by camera.
in our narrow hallway, it was just filled of like bulletproof vests all the way down the hallway.
Right.
But
and they asked to go in with everybody armed.
They
said,
"Can we come in?" And then we didn't say anything. And he goes, "Can 2 of us come in and talk to you?"
Right.
And
but do you see how it started with, I'm going to give you the most intimidating answer. All of us are coming in. That's not working. Okay, I'll pull back a little bit. You don't think that's weird?
No, that's what police do. That's what FBI and this wasn't police either. This was FBI and Homeland Security. It was a little more than just the NYPD.
I understand, but you have rights.
Yeah, and then we said no, and they go, okay, well, we didn't say no, we said nothing, and they said, can 2 of us come in? And if we said no, then they would have been like, great, we'll be back with a warrant.
Great, yeah. And I would have been like, okay, great.
And they would have had it in 2 seconds because it's the FBI building and we're right by the courthouse. So I was like, just come in.
2 seconds, you know, we'll see about that.
2 seconds, more time to hide drugs.
Because I have a story where it went the opposite way.
Okay, what happened?
So I was living in an apartment in, where was it technically, Gramercy, right? It's like 23rd and 3rd.
Gramercy?
Yeah, for a little bit.
Oh.
One of our old mutual friends, Alton, someone we knew, a class of fellow actor,
I don't know
really, really amazing, did the greatest James Bond impression.
I never met him, so I don't know.
He should have been on SNL.
I don't know him.
Anyway, he hooks me up with this friend of his because I had a really bad living situation and I had to pack up my shit and leave. It's a long story from Hoboken. So I landed in a spot. It's like $825 of this enormous room. It's a duplex.
What a dream.
I have like it's like a stabilized unit with an elevator. It's one of those huge kind of like cross-shaped residential buildings in New York. You know how like a few of those, it's almost like it was a project and then became like nice housing.
Yeah.
And people who stayed in there long enough still have a place. So I'm in this 2-bedroom. And the guy I'm living with, I was too young to really recognize the signs, but he was not all there. He was not all healthy, right? Anyway, he has a cousin up in the Bronx, and she, did some illegal things to make some money, right? She was selling some illegal things to make money, and she was trying to get out because her business partner got shot and killed. So she was in a court case, and she was trying to hide from her neighborhood in the Bronx. So she was couch crashing, basically, while she was going through this. This beautiful lesbian girl, like should have been a Calvin Klein model, like she, like white tee, you know what I'm saying? Just absolutely stunningly beautiful. One of the sweetest people I've ever met. She has her head on her shoulders, right?
Okay.
She's a grounded individual. Long story short, my roommate would disappear for days.
The one who's not quite together.
Disappear for days. Okay. And his brother would call me, be like, "Hey, yo, where's so-and-so?" I'm like, "I don't know. I'm not his parent. You know, I just pay rent. You know, I'm just trying to get by. I'm like waiting tables to get by, you know?" And he would disappear because he had syphilis in his brain. And so he would go kind of cuckoo and have seizures.
Why didn't you get it treated? You can get syphilis treated.
You can, but when you don't take your medication, you seize. And then you walk around the city like you're a homeless person.
Well, you must have had it for a long time because syphilis you treat with antibiotics.
Yeah, okay, so maybe it wasn't syphilis.
It can't have been, that's not syphilis. You take like I don't know what the dosage is, but you take medicine, you can treat it. It's curable.
Is it?
Yes.
Is syphilis curable?
Absolutely.
I thought that was one that you couldn't. Okay, so maybe I'm mixing up. Point being,
curable.
He would seize and walk around New York City, very unwell, and people would think he's like homeless and mentally insane.
Yeah.
But he's just having seizures, and so he's not all there. Anyway, so there was this record of this going on, right? So one night I'm sleeping, right? One night I'm asleep, and this cousin, I'm gonna call her Jane, right? We'll just call her Jane.
Yeah.
Jane wakes me up in my bed. I'm sleeping, and she's like, "Wake up, wake up!" And I wake up. And there's smoke everywhere. The whole room is filled with smoke. She's like, there's a fire. There's a fire. I'm like, oh my God. I wake up. I roll out of bed. I'm going downstairs. I smell something burning really, really badly. It's like maybe 2 a.m. It's probably like July 5th, maybe July 4th. And I go down and we open up the oven and he left chicken in the oven.
Oh, no.
Right? So the chicken lit on fire and caused this huge fire. Jane goes and calls every person in the city.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it felt like she called every single FDNY station, every single police officer, every single ambulance, because by the time she told me she called and I'm putting out the fire, I go outside on the balcony and the whole building just gets pincer moved by like sirens. It's
you know what? Can I just to interrupt real quick? When you phone for that kind of stuff, they send a lot of vehicles.
They send a lot.
Like when I told you about the car explosion last week, they sent about 17 like ambulances and fire engines. They couldn't fit down the street. I was like, this is a bit unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like, they sent a lot of cars.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And the messed up part is they can't take the elevator. So they had to lug all of their equipment.
And they're in heavy outfits too.
And they're in heavy outfits and it was like July 4th or 5th. So they were like really bad. So we get up, Jane and I open the door. We explain to them what's going on. Jane is like, look, my cousin needs help. Like he needs help.
Yeah.
You know, he's not all there. He's putting himself in danger. And I kid you not, because of the way Jane dresses and because of where she came from, the cops turned on her.
Yeah. I mean,
they started siding with my roommate.
There's a huge problem. Yeah.
Because he was kind of like more Anglo-Saxonized, right? But Jane was not. So all of a sudden,
you could say it. He was more white than she was.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a huge problem. It's awful.
Blue eyes, lighter skin, right?
Absolutely.
Blue eyes, whiter skin, black man, right? So Jane starts getting pushed into the corner by two cops with their hands on their guns. She called them.
Yeah.
She called them.
I was thinking actually when I started telling my story and you were like, it's good they didn't cause trouble. I was like, I'm a white girl. Like
that's what I'm saying. Like these laws
fucked up, but it's true.
These laws are here for everybody, right? And you know, like it might be okay occasionally when to let a cop in and stuff, but at the same time, it's like, where's the balance in the courtship here?
Of course.
You know? And so I always get worried because I see those kinds of rights go flying out the window. And I think about people that, maybe don't have the privileges that I do. If they were put in that situation, would it be the same? Absolutely. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know, but that's why we have to have warrants. That's why we have to have those things.
Agreed. I was just thinking, is it bad that I said I had a roommate that had acid in the freezer? Am I going to get in trouble for saying that?
No, yeah, definitely. The FBI is listening.
Okay. I've never taken acid. Have you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never done it.
Look, it's fun.
I'm sure it is. I'm just a little, I think I'd rather do mushrooms or something. Acid
mushrooms is way healthier. See, acid's weird. Acid is kind of like spraining an ankle in your brain. That's how it feels.
I've heard I don't know what that means, but I've heard horror stories of people doing acid and then they don't quite come back.
No. That's people who do way too much drugs.
Okay.
Right? That's like someone who you don't have to take enormous doses.
I've never done hallucinogenics of any kind.
Oh man, you're missing out. I do mushrooms 4 times a year.
Really?
Yeah. It's actually.
Do you have it in your calendar?
Yeah.
Really?
No, really. Every season, I'm like, okay.
Wednesday, I do mushrooms. Yeah. Really?
No, like I plan it.
I do microdosing, but you don't trip on that.
See, I don't do microdosing. The best way to do it is do it in a tea. So here's how you prep
I do microdosing.
You grind up your mushrooms.
Yeah.
I sometimes even empty a tea bag and then put it in the tea bag. Okay. Right? So you get like a little caffeine in the bag or whatever. And then you boil water and then you let it go down below a simmer because if it's too hot, it'll burn all the psilocybin, right? Psilocybin, excuse me. So
that was a good spoonerism though.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And so, you make the tea so that you can drink it at your own pace.
Interesting.
You don't just eat a bunch of mushrooms and then you go on a roller coaster. You know what I'm saying? You slowly do it because my stomach ain't the greatest. You know what I'm saying?
Are you part Jewish?
No.
Okay.
What does that have to do with my stomach?
Because I'm half Jewish and I've got the Jewish stomach.
Marvin's like, huh?
You know this, right?
No, is that a thing?
Oh my gosh. Ashkenazi Jew have like really bad stomach problems. I'm Ashkenazi Jew on my dad's side.
Is that a thing?
And my stomach is awful. Yeah. Really? Yeah, it's a whole thing. They can't process dairy, oat milk. It's not everyone obviously, but a huge amount of Jewish people have really severe digestive issues, me included. Well, so Judaism is interesting because it's a religion too, but it's also like an ethnicity, right? Yeah. And I guess ethnically, like, I don't know the right word for it, but I guess genetically, there's something in that makes that, like, traditionally, like, I don't know what the word is, but it's like how, I don't know, certain, like, genetics make people have, like, worse eyesight.
Yeah.
Ashkenazi Jewish people tend to have stomach issues. It's like a chronic thing.
That's interesting.
And I definitely got that. And it's so unfair because my brother's kind of skipped out on that, but for some reason I got all the stomach issues.
No, I think I just got it.
Yeah. That's
fair. My background's I'm Irish Brazilian.
Okay. Oh yeah, we talked about this. Yeah.
So, I don't have Ashkenazi in me. Yeah. But, my dad has
I do, and I'm very proud of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, their history is
amazing. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Like talk about somebody with the most epic and expressive history of all time. It's like Judaism was there at almost the very, very beginning.
Yeah.
Right. It went like Mesopotamia to.
Yeah. So anyway, you do your mushroom tea.
Yeah. So mushrooms. All right. So here's how I explain it. Okay. Right. In life, when we get ingrained in where we're at and the way we think in our modus operandi and how we approach. I was talking to
my therapist about this, not mushrooms, but how we have channels, right? Like with our brains, we have these grooves and these channels that like our habits essentially. So when we think about things like our behaviors, when we keep repeating stuff, we all end up in these channels, right? And they say when you take mushrooms, it kind of like smooths out those channels as so you can reset yourself a little bit.
And this is the best way I explain that. So we get rooted in a problem, right? And we see something dead on, right? We're looking at it. We're looking at the problem from where we're at. We're staring at it from where we currently are positioned mentally, physically, financially, whatever, right? We assess our situation and we determine how this challenge is surmountable or insurmountable. When you take mushrooms, your perspective changes so much. You now see that same problem as a three-dimensional object.
Yeah, but you also see the walls moving. Huh? Do you also see the walls moving?
We'll get to that. Hold on. So when you change your perspective, you're able to see the challenge three-dimensionally. And then you go, oh, that's nothing. I know how to fix that. And that's what that is.
That sounds fun. I kind of want to do that.
It's also highly emotional.
Yes, I've heard that.
Like it connects your heart to your thoughts. So your thoughts are maybe 10 times as clear. It's almost like a voice. But it's you. You know what I'm saying? But it's like your thoughts have more impact on yourself when you're thinking it. So you can map what you say more clearly from a beginning point and end point. And for those reasons, I think everyone should take mushrooms. I think it's one of the greatest gifts.
Have you done them, Marvin? Nature. Do you feel comfortable answering that? I know it's a kind of a tricky thing because some people don't want to say if they have or haven't.
I've never done it, but I wanted to try toad venom.
What's that?
Toad venom.
Here, is that better?
Apparently, it's like a hallucinogen that brings you to the brink of death.
What?
And so you start to experience time and space differently.
Like DMT.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Is it actual toad venom or is that just a cute name?
Yep.
Wow.
That sounds so apocalypto.
That sounds very like...
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you remember that scene in Apocalypto?
I haven't seen Apocalypto. But
you haven't seen Apocalypto? Have you seen Apocalypto?
It just sounds very
All right, I know Mel Gibson is racist, but his movie is so good.
It sounds...
I have seen that.
How good is that?
It's incredible. You need to see
Okay,
I
have to watch it. Because I'm saying it sounds very like... do you ever see those TV shows where they go to like these like tribes that are really isolated?
Yeah.
And they have some kind of like tradition they normally do when people come of age?
Yep.
And a lot of them, there's that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That really happens.
They do all kinds of weird stuff.
Yeah, like there's one where they get stung by bees. Have you seen this?
What?
So there's one tribe, and I don't know where it is, but
that sounds so stupid.
No.
Let's give everyone anaphylactic shock. No, you're a man now.
They have these like...
Go fuck.
I think it's like... I think actually it's not bees. I think they make these gloves with woven with like these ants that sting you.
Oh,
and you have to put your hands in these like gloves and be like stung 1,000.
Like Dune?
Is that what happens in Dune?
Like in Dune when he puts his hands in the box and she's like, "You must not feel pain."
I'm sure that's probably where they got the idea from. They do that.
They got it from Dune?
No, I mean the other way around. Because I've seen this documentary and this guy, they welcome this guy and he's one of the first like people from the West who like kind of actually got to know these people. And they were like, yeah, this is like a tradition that we do, when people come of age. It's really sacred. It's really important to them. And they weave these gloves. They look like oven mitts, but they have ants embedded in them and they sting you and you put your hands in them.
That sounds
Can you look this up, Marvin? So I don't want you to Google like stingy ant oven mitts. No, that's not the right thing. I'm not good at Googling. You do it.
That's crazy. We're recording, right? I didn't even ask.
Yeah, of course we're recording.
Okay. This has been a dry run.
Yeah, and so now we'll start.
Right, so it's like pain tolerance, right?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of stuff that do that. Like there's certain... Huh?
This is in Brazil.
It might be.
Sounds very Brazilian.
The bullet ant ritual.
Yes, this is it.
You get stung by bullet ants?
Yeah, but hundreds of them in gloves. They weave them into like gloves.
Too much.
Is a bullet ant really bad?
The bullet ant is the most painful ant of all time. It's like
the most painful ant of all time. I don't know why that sounds so silly.
It feels like you're getting shot.
I believe you, but just the ant.
Isn't that why they call it a bullet ant? Because it's so
Marvin is
so strong.
Googling this, so it clearly is.
It feels like you're getting shot. when you get bit.
Well, they have, certain people, like certain traditions, you'll be tattooed when you come of age.
Yeah, that's a cool one.
Really cool. Or you'll do like
that's an African
specific body modification. There's really interesting stuff. A lot of them do involve pain, though.
I have a good one that I met personally.
Okay.
So when I was 17, I went to Kenya, right, for like 35 days. It's a long story, to preach, whatever. And the Maasai are this tribe on Masai Mara.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, they're the ones who jump really high and stretch out their necks and wear all the red. They are incredible.
So strong.
They have all these different rituals, right? Like first one, they stretch out their necks with rings if you're a woman. Right?
Oh, I've seen that, yes.
So that's the woman ritual. The man ritual is the higher you jump, the more women you get.
Oh.
And in order to become a man, you have to kill a lion. Guess how they do that?
That's terrifying.
This is the crazy thing. They don't stab it and they don't beat it. They have this piece of hardwood with a bulb at the end of it, which looks just like a small club.
Like a club. Yeah, okay.
And they goat the lion to charge him. And then they simply put the bulb down the lion's throat because it can't chew it. So it starts suffocating.
Oh.
And once that happens, the rest of the tribe comes in to stab to save the man. But basically,
you have to face a lion, face on.
You have to face a lion.
Terrifying.
I know. That's crazy.
That's also, I feel bad for the lion. I know it's part of the tradition, but I don't like seeing animals get killed like that. It makes me sad.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I have a different view on that.
Animals being killed?
No, it's just kind of like the ferocity of nature is kind of a necessary thing.
I get it, the circle of life. I don't like trophy hunting though and stuff like that.
No,
that
I don't like
makes me
trophy
very
hunting.
upset.
That's different.
Especially when they kill elephants. That breaks my heart.
Hold on. Elephants are like the most magical things on this planet.
My two favorite animals, elephants and bats.
Bats?
I love bats.
Why bats?
I just think they're so adorable.
Really? Even now?
Yes.
Even now in 2020?
I thought it was the pangolin that gave us COVID.
No, that's not true.
Or
Pangolin
did it
gave us every other
from
disease.
A lab?
It definitely escaped from a lab.
Definitely escaped from a lab. 100%. I 100% believe it's man-made.
Isn't it crazy how people said that was a conspiracy?
No doubt in my mind. I'm like, this is a weird ass virus. This is 100%. I don't think it was.
There's so much.
Look,
evidence.
I don't think it was intentionally released to
I don't think
disrupt the world, but I
released.
definitely was a man-made virus. No doubt in my mind.
I feel like there's no evidence to say it's intentionally released.
I don't think. Yeah, but it's definitely not. They were like, oh, it's from a bat. I'm like, don't blame the bats for your own incompetence. Like,
it's so crazy. They said it's from a wet market from a bat. Like China isn't a barbarian nation.
No, it's a very civilized society.
Like Wuhan has like 6 million people in it, right? Like Wuhan's a huge city.
Yeah.
It's almost like a San Francisco.
No, exactly. It's
like
very high tech and modern China. Like
and
the most
clean.
The most high tech city. Like
it's
not
crazy.
Just Wuhan, but in general, it's Americans, they think any country that isn't America is a third world country.
Well, it was just a racist way of explaining off responsibility.
It's funny, when I was a kid and I used to come to visit America as a child, because we'd come every year to visit my relatives, because all my relatives are American. I get people asking me the weirdest questions about England. Like kids my age.
Really?
Like asking us if we had television.
Nights? What?
Yeah. They're like, do you have TV in England? If we had...
You're like, no, just Shakespeare.
No, quite literally. One girl asked if we wore normal clothes, like if it was weird wearing normal clothes. And I was like, what do you mean? She goes... Like,
tunics.
She thought we dressed like old-timey in England. And I was like... Yeah. And like when I came to America, I guess she thought I hit Old Navy and bought like shorts and T-shirts.
Like you get off the boat, you're like throwing your
my
Shakespearean
umbrella. I like take my umbrella down and like change out of my corset. I mean, I was like, I was like 9 at the time, so like I get little kids are clueless, but then they just asked me the weirdest.
You punish them?
With a cane. They asked me the weirdest questions. They asked if we had like, electricity and rate. They just couldn't understand that England was.
Do you have electricity?
It was so weird. And I'm not kidding. They asked me these questions. They asked if we had tennis in England.
That's a weird one.
I was like, what do you think Wimbledon is?
Yeah.
They asked just unusual things.
You ever see that?
And then I get it the other way around too, where Americans forget that we didn't always have the exact same stuff.
What do you mean?
So like my friend once was like, oh, do you remember that commercial growing up? And I was like, no, I grew up in England in different commercials. And he was like, no, you must remember that one commercial. I'm like, no, I don't. It didn't exist in the UK. Like, why is that such a
Let's play a little game. All right. Did you have Ovaltine?
Yes.
You did have Ovaltine.
Yeah, we had Ovaltine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ovaltine.
You can just kind of tell. What about Kleenex?
Yeah.
Tylenol?
Yes, but it's not called Tylenol.
What's it called?
Paracetamol.
Paracetamol?
Yeah. Yeah,
why is it when you say that in an American accent, it sounds like a disease?
Or in the
but
UK,
when a British person says it, it's like, that's very lovely.
The one the kids have, like you remember you were sick as a kid, they gave you this like sweet syrup to make like
like a Dimetap?
It was like it was like pink. It's called Calpol.
Pepto-Bismol.
No, that's for stomach ache. Calpol in the UK is like a pain reliever, fever
reducer
thing. Yeah.
So it's like a Theraflu?
Kind of, but it's what they give children if you don't feel well.
Right.
Calpol.
That's what we call that Dimetap. That was what I grew up on. I don't know if you had that.
Yeah, Dimetap.
Yeah, I had Dimetap and Cookie Crisp. That was like my diet at
I actually thought about this the other day. I really want to bring in some traditional like English snacks and candies, and we can try them on camera.
Oh, that's a great
Wouldn't
idea.
that be fun?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing
I'll bring
fruity
some.
though. For some reason, I don't like fruit.
You don't like fruit?
Not all fruit, you know?
Like fruity candies, you mean?
Some fruity candies I can do, like cherry candies and things like that. Like flavoring.
There's a great
I can't do the
store
fruit.
in West Village called Tea and Sympathy, and it's a little English like sweet shop. What's it English? It's actually really cool. It's 3 places. There's Tea and Sympathy, which is a little corner store that sells English sweets and snacks and foods.
England.
And then there's Tea and More Sympathy, which is a tea shop. There's
Tea and More Sympathy down the block. Yes, of course.
And then you'll love this. There's a fish and chip shop next door called Assault and Battery. And they're so good. They're delicious. The food is great.
The dichotomy between those names is priceless.
And they're all
Tea and Sympathy and Assault and Battery.
And they're all run by Brits. And I love going there because it's like everyone talks in English accents. It's wonderful.
Brilliant.
It's rather good, if I do say so myself.
You know what I watched and made me think of you actually?
What?
Was the Harry Potter special.
The reunion? Me too.
The reunion?
It was really good.
It was really good, right?
It was really lovely.
It's also it was depressing.
Did you see how they just really avoided J.K. Rowling at all costs the whole way through it? I was like, she wrote this. And they just kind of tactfully never mentioned her, which I thought, I get she says some things very controversial, but she also did invent these stories. Like it's very...
What are your thoughts on that, right? Like, can you separate the creator from the individual?
You know what? I can, because here's my thing. I don't look to J.K. Rowling for moral guidance.
Exactly.
I know my own beliefs, my own thoughts.
Kanye West for president.
They're very different. They're very different from hers. I'll make that clear. Like I don't agree with a lot of stuff she says, but I look to J.K. Rowling for a good story that I can escape from, like escape the world and go into this world she created. I don't look to her to find my moral standing, so I can separate her from the stories. Because
here's the thing.
I'm not turning to J.K. Rowling to find out how to be a good person.
You know what's weird though is like we look to these people to create fantasies.
Yes.
And then we get mad when they're fantastical in real life.
Yes. Well, also, I just think, I was talking to my therapist about this.
They're not supposed to be rooted in reality. Like that's why they make Harry Potter.
Well, I'd love to get both your opinions on this. So I talked to my therapist about this because I tend to have a real trouble. In general, I'm a very gray person in life, right? I don't like
gray.
Oh, like I see the gray in things, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Sometimes very black and white.
The middle way.
I'm quite a gray person. Like I can see both sides of things in general. But for some reason, when it comes to morality, I'm real black and white, which is really interesting. And I don't mean as in like I struggle sometimes when people have like when I perceive someone. How to explain this? I find that our age group in particular, we're so obsessed with being in the gray with everything. Like with gender, it's a spectrum, right? Which I think it is. With identity, like we're so into not labeling things and being free. Yet we really do label stuff.
All the
right?
time.
We label people as good. We label people as bad and cancelled. And I really struggle with that sometimes because I am quite black and white in my thinking. And I like people aren't all good and all bad.
Right.
There's a mix in that.
Definitely.
And that can be really hard for me sometimes.
Really?
And I was talking about this because I've started watching The Great.
Oh, yeah. The
really good show, by the way.
About Peter the Great, right?
Yeah, really good. You'd really like it. So there's a character in it who's done some really awful things, but he's also really wonderful in other times. It's really interesting because he's not all good, not all bad. Like he started off and I was like, oh, this is the baddie. Okay. And then later in the episode, he's really kind. And I was really struggling with it. I was like, I can't decide if he's good or bad. And my therapist was like, well, maybe he's both. Like people aren't all good or all bad. And that's something I'm really trying to kind of wrap my head around. So I think it's the same with J.K. Rowling. People aren't all good, all bad.
Yeah.
She's not all good. She's not all bad. I don't think she's the devil incarnate and but she clearly has things that I don't agree with. And maybe that's okay. I don't know. It
has to be okay.
Yeah.
Right? It's okay for people to not agree with you.
Right.
And it's okay for you to not agree with
And then
people.
you have to, this is what,
so it's
one
a
thing,
fundamental
I think
human right.
You have to decide then individually, what is the line for you, right? What is something that you cannot accept? And that is your standard, right?
It's
so for instance,
a tough thing to draw a line
It is, right?
Because like, who are you?
Well, exactly. Exactly.
Like, no one should be the moral police.
No, but then it comes like, when picking a life partner, right? What can you accept and what can you not accept? Picking in your friends.
Ooh.
What can you accept?
Let's play that game.
And what can you not accept?
Top 3 priorities that you need
in a life partner?
in a life partner. Top 3 priorities.
Honesty, number 1.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm a real, like, I
Number
hate
1.
being lied to. If my partner, God forbid, cheated on me, I would rather, if they told me straight away, I might be able to get over it and come back around. If they hid it from me from a year and then I found out, that would be the limit for me. It would be the fact they've lied to me all that time. That would bother me more than the actual cheating.
I agree. Honesty is number 1.
Yeah, honesty is number 1. Ooh, that's interesting.
Tits.
I
was like, this got way too serious.
Are you a boobs or butt guy? Or both?
Oh, I'm an eyes guy. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I do know what it is, but I can't say on camera. It's that's what I like.
I wonder. There's not really a specific female equivalent or like male equivalent. I mean, you know, because
probably like hair.
Well,
would be like what
it's
a
just
girl
there's
would
always
say,
in
right?
the media it's
Something
like boobs or butt, you know, but there's not a
They're very important factors.
2 or 2.
Don't get me wrong.
Do you think? I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's like a equivalent for men.
Hands.
6-pack, yeah, but I'm not really into 6-packs.
And hands. You know,
Hands, I guess.
Hands is 1.
People like forearms on men.
right.
Yeah. I'm not really into 6-packs though. Like that's not my thing.
Noses.
No, yeah. But no one's like, oh, you're a nose or toes guy.
Yeah.
Like that's
Everyone's
not an
like,
equivalent.
I need a dick larger than 7 inches.
No, that's the thing too that men think women care about and they really don't. Yeah, I don't know. There's not really a specific equivalent on men that I can think of as like a match for the boobs or butt conversation.
Yeah, but you know, it's also just like a stupid guy culture thing where they put all this. Realistically, honestly, guys really just want someone that has their back the entire way.
I think they want that, but a lot of men. That was a really loud noise. That was the microphone.
God, way too much coffee.
Well, way too much. No, I'm kidding. I think
it's also like a very kind of like nice reserved fart noise that you just made. You know, it was just kind of like, yeah, it's like you're trying not to have it blown out of proportion. I'm like, right?
Yeah,
it's like you in an elevator and you look around like, who the fuck did that?
Yeah, right.
Oh, we're getting so off track. Anyway, J.K. Rowling. Yeah. Speaking of, the new Lord of the Rings show's coming out.
Yes, I saw the intro, the teaser trailer. They gave
my gosh. How good were those shots?
Did you? I was reading about that. So the shot is so them pouring molten metal into the mold to make the rings, and they actually, you know, that wasn't CGI.
No, I know.
They really filmed molten metal,
and they shot it on 35 millimeter. I heard.
Really cool.
I heard they're shooting on 35 millimeter.
They spent so much money on this project.
It's the most expensive show of all time. It's about to take a giant dump on Game of Thrones. All right, fuck Game of Thrones. Yeah, fuck Game of Thrones. You heard me say it here.
Love Game of Thrones.
First time. This is going to be a much better show.
Are they actually going to release that Game of Thrones prequel, or is it not going to ever come out?
Is it not out yet?
No.
Really?
House of Dragon? No, they gave a teaser for it a year ago.
I'm not excited for it. It looks too.
Not really either.
They look like they're all in wigs.
Yes.
You know, like it doesn't feel like
real,
it actually
authentic.
is a world.
Yeah.
Right. Like the beautiful part of the first 4 seasons of Game of Thrones.
It felt real gritty and real.
It was really gritty.
I think that's honestly why the first, like the 3 Lord of the Rings movies did so much better than The Hobbit, was they really made everything tangible. All the makeup for the orcs, everything was actual makeup.
Yeah.
And then when it came to The Hobbit, it was all CGI.
All CGI.
And it didn't look as good.
No. You know, Peter Jackson had to approve every single texture of costume and prop.
I love that. I love
every single piece of it was sent to him first for approval. And he's like, this doesn't work. Think about that. So he held and decided if this was part of his world.
I love that.
You know how incredible that is? The whole story of Lord of the Rings, people don't really understand. You know, like J.R.R. Tolkien, World War I vet, was in the trenches, came up with this masterpiece of a story that tied in like cultural signals to so many different types of cultures, Norse mythology, Jewish mythology, right? Like the whole dwarfism, like, you know what I'm saying? Maybe that could be kind of like somewhat kind of racist, right? But the way certain cultures responded to certain real life cultures, he knew intuitively how to tie that together. And it was us seeing that on the screen. There's something clocking in our mind that makes this feel so familiar.
I was in school with a kid whose last name was Tolkien, and the rumor was that he was related to him, and I never found out if it was true or not. But he had lovely handwriting.
Did he?
Yeah, beautiful handwriting.
He's the first one to make up an entire language. He made 4 languages. Wow. Elvish, the black speech, which is what they, when they're making the ring.
I haven't read Lord of the Rings, but I've
No?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's a cool fun fact about Lord of the Rings. So the main characters all have rings of power.
No, I know the story. Yeah.
Right. But characters that aren't really talked about, like Galadriel.
Yeah.
She already has a ring.
Yeah.
Right. Gandalf already has a ring.
Yeah.
So when he's fighting off the Balrog in the Mines of Moria, he's calling upon the Ring of Arnor, which he already has. So he already has a ring of power, not the ring of power. One that's explained in the very beginning. You know how they do like
the one ring to rule them all.
That's the bad one. There was other ones.
Bind them. Yeah.
Right?
No,
there was
I know.
like the 5 rings, I think,
they gave
for
to the kings
elves,
and the elves.
the 7 for, or the 9
dwarfs,
for...
the king of the dwarfs or whatever it was, yeah.
I don't know if the king of dwarfs actually
The dwarfs
had one.
got a ring.
Probably,
Gimli got one, didn't he? Or not him, but...
not Gimli, I think his dad did.
All right.
Yeah, or Thorin, maybe.
Gimli Senior.
Yeah, I should know that. But yeah, as a kid, we would always watch like the director's cut version.
Yeah, they're real long.
Ah, so special. What do you think of the new Boba Fett? Did you see that?
No, I'm not a Star Wars person. And I've tried. I used to go as a kid with my family and see them all, and I can never really get... I don't like sci-fi. I really
love
don't like
sci-fi.
sci-fi at all. And I tried...
I'm writing a sci-fi script right
and
now,
I
actually.
really can't stand it. I found Interstellar incredibly boring.
What?
Yeah. I didn't like... I just don't like sci-fi.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Did you have a place to be after the movie?
What do you mean?
Like, were you kind of excited for the movie to end? Because the movie isn't the fastest movie,
No, I went
right?
so my aunt and uncle are real big movie people, so we went and saw it in the cinema, and I just couldn't get into it.
See, the science behind that and the science of space, I'm sure Marvin can relate, is so fucking interesting.
See, I like
in Interstellar.
I love space, right? And I'm fascinated by space, but I don't like sci-fi movies. I think visually, I don't find them appealing. I like historical movies or fantasy or crime. I love crime movies. I cannot get into sci-fi, and I've tried. Does nothing for me.
We're in a sci-fi world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the technology that we're inventing now is just so incredible.
And I don't think Interstellar is a bad movie. Like, I understand it's a really fantastic movie for what it is. I just personally didn't like it for myself.
Speaking of space, you want to hear something cool, guys?
Sure.
I was in Doug Liman's office.
Who's that?
The producer of, Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Oh, I love that movie.
A bunch of and he's doing the next Tom Cruise movie.
Very cool.
So I'm in his office, and on his conference table is a model of SpaceX rocket and the International Space Station, because they're shooting in space.
That's wild.
They're making a Tom Cruise movie in space.
He's always been into space, though. He narrated that really cool documentary.
So crazy.
That's wild.
Can you imagine? Tom Cruise is the most hardcore motherfucker out there.
Yeah, he really is. He does all his own stunts, doesn't he?
Most of them, yeah. Most of them. You see him break his ankle in that jump?
No.
So in the most recent Fallout, by the way, is the best Mission Impossible movie. And dare I say, better than Jason Bourne movies. And I'm a huge Jason Bourne fan.
Yeah.
But the fact that you see Tom Cruise actually do this is like part of why I go. Every motorcycle chase, every wheelie, every time
he flies helicopters too. He does all the flying.
He's flying his own jet in Top Gun.
Yeah.
He's flying a military jet in Top Gun.
I love that he gets in, that he's into his acting, but he also really...
He's not really an actor.
He really gets into it, though, and he really enjoys it, it seems, which is kind of lovely.
Well, I got to take back what I just said, because that's
actor.
so not true, right? You think about Interview with a Vampire.
Great.
It's so good.
So good. Even Risky Business.
The Last Samurai, that was not like an really easy good. Acting
I think
thing
he's a very good actor.
Yeah, I take that back. That was a really stupid thing to say. I think his strength is his action.
Yes.
But he knows how to act.
Yeah.
Right?
Great. He was actually, do you know who he's really good in? Is Rock of Ages. Have you seen it?
No.
So it's kind of a silly film, but it's such a different character for him. He plays a old rock star. So he's in these chaps and he's just this wild character. Have you seen it, Marvin? He plays this completely different character to who he is in real life. It's insane, but he's really fun.
His best character to this day, we all know it, is Tropic Thunder.
I haven't seen that.
You haven't seen that?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. So, all right.
It's cold in here.
So Tom Cruise, I know, sorry. Tom Cruise is, he plays a producer. All right. So he has a bald cap. You don't even recognize him. And he wanted really hairy arms.
Oh gosh.
So he's like this gun-toting producer who always gets what he wants, but he's like, furry chest with a gold chain.
A medallion.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he's like, kind of like, fuck you, producer and stuff. He stole the entire movie. Like, he was the
I've
funniest
only heard
person.
good things about that movie, so maybe that should be on my list to watch this weekend.
Oh my God. The fact that you could make a movie about a white Australian actor playing a black man in blackface
and get away with it. Yeah,
is to this day
incredible. He was nominated for an Oscar, wasn't he?
The movie was too. It would have been the first, I think, first comedy to win Best Picture.
Wow. I just saw what movie did I see that was up for an Oscar?
And Ben Stiller.
Yeah, great.
It's amazing that he went from the start of his career to directing movies as good as Tropic Thunder.
He directed it? Mm-hmm. I didn't realize that.
Mm-hmm. He wrote and directed it, I think. He does that for most of his movies now.
That's cool.
He makes his own stuff.
Yeah.
Will Ferrell's getting into producing. Unless it's a different Will Ferrell.
A lot of actors are getting into directing right now. George Clooney just directed a feature.
They really want to be directors.
Maggie Gyllenhaal just directed a feature.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
I'm glad Maggie Gyllenhaal's doing something because I kind of missed her on screen.
Yeah.
And I saw her recently on the round table talk about how she really found her voice directing.
Yeah.
I think a lot of actors want to really be a director deep down.
Yeah. And I think it's funny because I think a lot of directors want to be actors. It's very interesting that way.
You know what? That you kind of hit something there.
It is. I think a lot of people in the film industry got into their past, like directing, screenwriting, script supervising, because they wanted to act.
Yeah.
And not that they were like a failed actor anyway. They just found they really had a passion actually more behind the scenes. And I think a lot of actors have real passions to create and make, but they had to just take what was given to them at first. And now that they have a good career behind them and they have the freedom to make.
I agree. And I think for me...
And I love when people can multitask that way, like be multi-hyphenates and be an actor or a producer and a director. It's cool.
Right. I think for me creatively, it's nice to kind of take things out of my way. Like as an actor, there's all of these steps where other people need to provide you the ability to do it.
Yeah.
Right? Like you need to find a scene partner to put up at least a 2-person scene. Then you need an audience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas if you're a screenwriter or even a director, you can just spend time in your apartment crafting your own story. Are you seriously texting?
Yeah. I'm listening to you. Sorry. My cousin just texted me, so I had to reply. I'm listening to you. I'm so sorry, Alexander. So mad. I'm listening.
Anyway, back to the Alexander show.
No, that wasn't nice of me. I'm sorry. My cousin texted me and I just had to reply real quick.
All right.
But I was listening, yeah.
So, you know, you can make these stories, but...
No,
That was good. Yeah. That was good. I was like, Nani?
Flip the script.
Are you kidding?
No.
Have you written anything?
I haven't because I don't really know how, but I have ideas running in my head. Mm-hmm. I've written scenes. Here's my thing. I've written scenes.
Yeah.
I just don't know how to string them all together.
Right.
And I've never done a screenwriting class or anything, so I don't really know.
I'll tell you my method.
The technicalities. You sit down and write?
No, writing is the last thing I do.
What do you do then?
I get a blank wall like this, and then I get Post-it notes. And then
That's quite fun.
I categorize it. So first I do beginning, middle, and end. And then I complicate that more.
See, that's my problem.
Intro, act 1, act 2, act 3, conclusion. And then I go from left to right is my time scale. So as the movie gets closer to the end, my Post-it note is more to the right. So, then if it's going top down, then it's complexity. So if I'm in act 1, and I want to complexify the act 1, I go down and I keep adding more categories, including characters and everything, right? And then I just move it Post-it note by Post-it note. I have my whole story, my whole character arc, where those buttons hit, already done. Then I stress out about how my character's voice sounds, you know, because I always write Alexander's voice as character blank. It's hard for me to alienate my vocabulary out from my character because that's always where I get stuck in the weeds. So if I do that first, then I'm just in the weeds.
See, I'm the opposite. It's so funny because when I've tried to write stuff, I have the voices, I have the characters, I have the individual scenes I want to happen. Mm-hmm. I can't get a storyline. Like I don't have an overarching storyline. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So
I think I need a writing partner because I think...
I was just going to say, maybe we should work together on something.
When people have like an overarching storyline, I'm really good at getting the conversations in there and the character voices and adding depth to it. But I can't, for the life of me, think of a like an overarching storyline. Mm-hmm. So...
Yeah. I mean, right now I'm writing a monster movie.
A monster movie?
Yeah, totally.
What do you mean?
It's a movie about how humanity specializes. Basically, like evolution doesn't evolve slowly anymore. There's one major event where evolution and nature, in order to evolve to survive, learns how to evolve differently. And the difference in its evolution is that in a short amount of time, tremendous evolution occurs throughout nature. So animals all of a sudden start getting born very different. humanity starts getting born very different, and everyone has a specialist category. And so the story is really about this ex-airborne ranger guy, basically on a New Jersey Transit coming in from Sea Caucus, right? And
this is such a you story. I'm loving this.
Yeah.
This is like Alexander hidden all over it.
So he pulls up his cell phone and he gets a call from his buddy, and his buddy is going down into a basement, and you find out that he actually has people chained up in this basement.
Oh, God.
And so this guy is on this train trying to find a mark, when out of nowhere this train derails and the monster shows up. And so he becomes actually the hero on the train, helping people get out of the monster's way.
So what happens to the people chained up in the basement?
You got to read the story.
Ooh, okay, spicy.
It's a prologue to the major thing. So I'm writing that. Now I'm interested in like a sci-fi movie. I'm really interested in like a planetary explorer.
You
right now.
sent me a couple pages of a script you're writing. I think it was something like ancient worldy.
Oh yeah,
And I loved it.
I'm writing that for Forrest Whitaker.
I really love that. That was a cool scene.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, this is fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So that scene is just basically like
It was short, but it was awesome.
It was a 2-minute intro scene for a series I'm writing about the Punic Wars. Because right now there's all these new channels coming out for like ancient documentary narratives.
I love it because I love period pieces.
And no one nails the Punic Wars. The Punic Wars was like world war in the ancient age. Like the entire ancient world, Europe, Africa, Greece, Spain, everyone was fighting.
Yeah.
And it was Rome versus Carthage.
Yeah.
And Carthage was the superpower before ancient Rome. Carthaginians were like, they were these coastal cities that were all focused on trade and made the best ships ever. And the greatest general of all time, Hannibal Barca, had amazing fights against ancient Rome. So the whole story is like, the religious element of, Baal Haman, which was their god, where they would throw their firstborns into this like metal furnace of a bull head. Yeah, that's where like Beelzebub comes from. That's where the devil comes from. It's actually like a god named Baal Haman, or known as Baal in Carthaginian, or Beelzebub in Judeo-Christianity.
The devil set aside for me.
Yeah, and the hell furnace, going to hell. So there's
wild.
So Carthaginians would have that, and also like strangely, the Phoenician palace that Jeffrey Epstein had on his island is all connected to this religious thing. Point being, some crazy shit. So the Carthaginians had this like wild sacrificial ritual sacrifice religion, but they were the most free. Yeah. Right? They actually got along with the rest of the world.
Well, isn't that why Rome was so successful? Because when they took over a place, they just let them keep their own traditions, their own religions, their own rights. They just taxed them like crazy. And that's why they were so successful, because they didn't try and go in and convert people and change people. They were like, look, you can have your own system, your own religions, your own beliefs, your own traditions.
Yeah.
Just pay us.
Well,
and they did really well.
That's true, but it's kind of like an onion or a gobstopper, right? Because what actually happened is people did get Romanized. Like the barbarians were the north of Italy.
Side point. Did you ever, as a child, finish a gobstopper?
Yeah.
Because I didn't. Those big ones?
What?
I used to,
what happened? You just spit them out?
The big ones.
Yeah.
The giant ones that are like...
Oh, like a jawbreaker.
Yeah, a jawbreaker.
Not a gobstopper.
Yeah, the jawbreaker.
No.
Do you ever finish one?
No.
I don't think I ever finished one in my entire childhood.
Isn't that gross? People just take it out of their mouth?
I would take it out and put it in a glass.
Get the fuck out of here.
What are you supposed to do with it?
Not do that.
And then I
Stay sanitary? I don't know.
I never finished it.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you ever finished a jawbreaker?
I've never had one.
You never had a jawbreaker? The big, they're not even that good, actually. I don't know why I'm acting surprised. They're kind of gross.
So disgusting.
Yeah.
They're not the greatest candies. Let's be honest.
In Ed, Ed and Eddie, the whole premise of that show was they
to get jawbreakers.
Get jawbreakers,
That's
right?
all they wanted.
Which is hilarious because they're like 25 cents.
How good was that show?
Oh, such a good show.
Ed and Eddie. Yeah.
But to toast. It's such a good show.
Oh my God. That was my childhood right there.
I used to love that show. Which was your favorite?
Which episode?
No, which character? Mine was Double D.
Double D, the dumb
hat.
one?
No, the one with the hat, the smart one who did all the science.
Oh, he was the one who always set up the businesses and stuff?
And no, there was the short Ed, the short one.
That's the business guy.
He was the business.
The shrewd.
He was the shrewd, but he wasn't smart. He was just the ringleader. And then there was Double D, which was the
tall one?
The medium height one with the black cap, who was like the sciencey one, who would do all the tech stuff. Okay. And then there was the dumb one.
Who was the tall one with the big head.
Yeah, who talked like this.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's classic. Dexter's Laboratory was probably...
I love Dexter's Lab. Cow and chicken.
Cow and chicken.
Mama had a chicken. Mama had a cow. Dad was proud. He didn't know how.
I used to love that show so much.
Dexter's Lab, Yu-Gi-Oh. Those were my shows growing up.
Yeah, Digimon.
Yeah, they're so good. So good.
The champion.
You have a favorite candy? Would you rank like top 3 candies?
I really like the candy ropes have the white filling in the pink.
Nerds rope?
No, they're like cherry sweet tart ropes. They're like red around the outside and they have white filling.
Like fruit by the loop or something?
You know what I mean? Sweet tart ropes?
No.
They're red and they have a white filling inside. They look like a straw.
No.
Yeah, let me show you. Or a good old fashioned lollipop is good as well.
Good old fashioned lollipop. I would say Warheads is probably number one.
I got in trouble at school for illegally selling warheads to my friends because my grandma sent me a box because you couldn't get them in England, and then I would sell them in the playground, and I made like £25 off them. I made some good money.
Did you really?
We charged like £1 a warhead. It was ridiculous, and I got in trouble for selling like candy illegally.
The fact that your classmates even had money is great.
And I also used to get in trouble because I had a couple shady side businesses as a kid. I used to get in trouble because we told people we could make their gel pens last longer, and we take everyone's gel pens and we cut the end off, like the plug, and you fill the actual pen with water and put the pen back together and you shake it, and it would dilute the liquid and make the pen
It's kind of genius.
last way longer. And they'd always end up leaking, but we would do that for our friends and we'd make their pens last longer. And we charge them like 20p for this, and we got in trouble for doing that.
So what is
too.
20p?
20p is
That's
probably
pounds?
no pence.
Pence.
Yeah.
So like how does the
Cents.
measurement go? Like what is your cent?
So you have 1p,
So that's a cent.
a cent,
Okay.
right? We have 5p.
Which is 5 cents?
Yeah, we have 10p.
Okay. 10 cents?
20p.
20 cents?
Yeah.
Okay, got
Because
it.
you guys have 25 here, right? Your
Right.
Coins. This is our coins.
Then
right?
it goes to 100?
Well, it goes more than that. So you have 20p, then you have 50p. Okay. Then
Oh, so you have a coin that's
yeah,
50p.
these are all coins.
Oh,
Then you have a
interesting.
pound coin and you have a £2 coin.
Really?
Yeah.
You have a 2 pound
We don't have pound notes.
What's quid?
A quid is a pound.
Quid is a pound.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's just kind of like
And
saying
then we have
cash.
And we have £5 notes, £10 notes, £20 notes, £50 notes.
So when
£100
someone
notes.
says quid, it's really kind of like the slang
It's
way.
like bucks.
Yeah. Okay.
These are the candy I like, the sweet tart ropes.
Oh my God, that looks disgusting.
They're so good.
That looks so gross.
What's your favorite then?
Warheads.
Okay, you said that.
I
Yeah,
once had
warheads
28 warheads
are-
in my
Oh
mouth
God,
at
you're
once. Yeah.
28 at once?
I burnt my mouth.
As a kid, I used to cheat and I'd run them underwater, get rid of the sour bit because I like the sweet bit afterwards.
What's the point of having it?
I told you I was a scummy child. I ran illegal schemes for my friends.
Did you sell those too?
No, I didn't.
All right, everyone. Thanks so much for watching. We'll check you out next week
we'll
on
be back.
episode 9. Oh, by the way, I had COVID, so we'll have to tell that story, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, we didn't even talk about that. I'm
That's
so
okay. We have
sorry.
so much shit we got to cover.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys.
Bye.
Peace.